Sponsorships. Lots of artists are getting them these days, including myself. So how do you make that happen for yourself? I think the better question is, what kind of sponsorship do you want? What serves both you and the company sponsoring you? Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today, I'm diving into sponsorships. What they are, who benefits from them, and how to get them. Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flowfests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterra Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultra Poi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all of these amazing businesses and what they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I have down in the description of this video. And special thanks to non-business friends of the channel, Johnny Howard, Lane Machinsky, and Pekka Pekkonen. Thank you so very much for your support for my work and my mission. There are a lot of different relationships that companies have with artists out there that are referred to as sponsorships. Some involve free props, some involve promotion, some involve commissions, or even being paid to make content. So what do they all have in common? Sponsorships, in simplest terms, are an exchange between a company and someone outside of the company of items or services of value in exchange for some form of promotion. Why do this? The biggest reason is because advertising has changed dramatically in the past decade. Rather than being centered around TV, print, radio, or billboard ads, now companies frequently opt to do more direct marketing through people well known in the social media landscape. The term most often used for this in the social media space is influencer, a term that many despise and/or look to as a negative or pejorative title. But it's also kind of a fact of doing business nowadays. Put simply, influencers are someone their audience trusts and relates to. When they talk about a product, it feels less like a Super Bowl commercial and more like a friend giving you a recommendation, and thus, it feels more personal, intimate, and authentic. So when it comes right down to it, all sponsorships engage with influencer culture to create a form of advertising wherein the person being sponsored agrees to do the work of helping a company build awareness for its brand and/or products. Many companies need to get their name out there and build their brand's credibility. Especially if they sell products that are largely undifferentiated or common, it's all the more important that their brand name is one that is seen as trusted or fashionable. There's a reason you see so many brands competing to get noticed making hoops or contact poi. It's incredibly difficult to tell from a glance whose specific product you're using. So building awareness of the company's brand is essential to surviving. In our current social media era, the shortest and cheapest route to visibility is to put those props in the hands of flow artists that will produce content featuring them, to recruit a lot of artists to do so, and to give them incentives to make a lot of that content. For artists, there's a number of things that get put on the table here. One of the biggest is just feeling seen. Having a company offer to send an artist props feels like an endorsement of either their skills, their content, or both. It feels good. And it also has to be said that many of the incentives offered are things that motivate an artist to do more work and create more content. Whether that's getting free props, commissions, or getting paid to create content, sponsorships also offer a way for artists to acquire things they might not otherwise be able to. It's also got to be said that it gives us content to create, an excuse to make a new video or post either to unbox our new prop or show it being used for the first time. Content builds audience, so having reasons to create more of it also helps us build that audience. And there's also one more thing that I think is really important and central to this relationship that I don't think is hugely obvious to people when they think about sponsorships. And if you want to create good business relationships, this is absolutely essential: branding. An artist's brand is a product of the expectations and relationships they create with their audience, and it extends to everything from the visual style of their content to what topics they talk about and how they talk about them. One example, look at the tutorials that come from myself, Nick Woolsey, and Wojta Stolbenko. In many cases, we're covering exactly the same tricks, but Nick's videos are fun and silly and frequently appear to be improvised on the spot. Wojta's are gorgeous to look at with lots of incredible camera work and dramatic lighting. Mine are usually shot in a minimalist space with lots of slow motion B-roll and are heavily structured. Each of us have our own unique brand. While each of us creates content that has a similar mission, we do it in vastly different ways. And in so doing, we create a series of promises and expectations for our audience. And that's not just about what or how we shoot, but also about the values each of us embody in our content. And companies also have branding or brand identity. While sponsorships in many cases represent exchanges of value from a material standpoint, they can also represent exchanges of value from a co-branding standpoint. Companies and artists that believe in similar values can both share audiences by collaborating on content, as well as creating an ecosystem within which people in those audiences can know whom they can trust to go to for a variety of different goods and services. This really is one of the biggest pieces of the branding puzzle, what they signal about an influencer and a company's shared values and the importance of extending trust between their audiences. So now that I have gone off at great length about the ideas and concepts underlying sponsorship, let's look at some of the more common arrangements that get referred to as sponsorships in the flow arts. At their simplest, one common arrangement is for a company to give an artist one or more free props, either with or without an explicit expectation to make content with them. Frequently, this happens in the form of a personal favor done if the influencer and prop maker know each other or are friends. The risk in this scenario comes because there's not a lot of incentive in it for the influencer to produce a lot of content. They may do so in a short burst, but otherwise fall off quickly because all they really lose is that the prop maker may get a little grumpy with them. A much more official relationship is one in which a company gives an influencer or artist not just a prop, but also a promo code. I guarantee you have seen one of these before. They're usually a short string of characters customized around the influencer's name or brand identity that are entered at checkout when purchasing from the company. They also almost always confer upon the customer a small discount for their purchase too. These promo codes are super helpful for companies because they can generate metrics by which the company can gauge the effectiveness of different artists in generating sales, as well as how effective their marketing and advertising efforts are overall. On the artist side of things, compensation for these arrangements can come in one of a few different forms, but what's probably the most common arrangement is that they receive a commission for each sale in the form of store credit that they can then redeem to acquire more props in the future. And I'll be real with you, I'm personally not a huge fan of this particular arrangement, and I think a lot of companies lean way too heavily on it. It's an arrangement that does little to support the artist other than making them feel good in the short term, but it's popular because it requires little to no risk on the part of the company. In most cases, the materials for these props have already been acquired by the company in question, so they're pulling from a sunk cost rather than setting aside money for advertising or promotion. Effectively, when offering store credit in exchange for commissions, it's really close to just being free advertising for the company. When companies are just getting started or trying to get on their feet, this can help them get their foot in the door. But it's also an arrangement that they and the artist they're sponsoring should revisit once they have some momentum going. The arrangements that I prefer and think of as real sponsorships are when an artist receives a cash commission for each sale they generate with their promo code. This can either be a percentage of the sale or a flat rate for each individual sale, depending upon the company and the arrangement. Now, I like this arrangement because it actually represents an investment in the artist and their work. I can't eat props or pay the rent with them, so having an arrangement in which those sales referrals have an actual value that can be exchanged for something essential in an artist's life is also an investment in the longevity of their work. Because otherwise, at some point, they'll have to make the choice between creating something with those props and doing something that will pay the rent. And I'm pretty sure I know how that decision will go down for most people. There is one final arrangement that I'd like to cover, and it is one that can sometimes also overlap with the other arrangements I've outlined here. And that is being paid to create content. How this works is that an influencer, artist, or content creator can come up with an idea for some content that will feature a product in a unique way or that is likely to get attention. The company whose product they'd like to feature can then offer to pay for the production of said content. In some cases, this is to subsidize the cost of creating said content, or it could simply just be an incentive to get the thing done. This creates an opportunity for the artist to up their game by putting more time, energy, or thought into the content that they're creating. And it potentially creates an opportunity for the company sponsoring said content to receive more viral attention. I've done plenty of examples of this, ranging from my monthly sponsored flow videos to the videos on fire safety that I did a couple years ago. This arrangement does carry with it the risk of seeming like a conflict of interest if the video explicitly endorses the product in a way that feels either calculated or manipulative. It can also produce some really well-produced and important content as well, though. And honestly, integrating a promo code into said content to track its efficacy and conversion rate, that's the best of all worlds right there. Gives everyone metrics to work with and to improve their work in the future. So with all that said, the burning question: how do you get a sponsorship? Literally the first thing you need to consider in this case is your audience. What is your relationship with them? Are these people that know and trust you, or are they simply your friends liking your posts to support you? This is a really critical difference. If you have 10 viewers that tune in, trust your endorsements, and convert sales versus 1,000 viewers that do little more than leave a like or a comment, those 10 viewers are way more valuable than the 1,000. I know everyone wants to go viral, but having a big audience doesn't equal having an engaged audience. You really need the latter to get a good sponsorship arrangement. Think about what makes you unique and why people watch you. What are they coming to get from you? Is it information, entertainment, inspiration? Understand what your audience wants, and it'll make sure that you maintain that trust. Once you've considered this piece of the puzzle, think about companies whose products you use on a regular basis and why. What is it that makes these specific poi, this particular shirt, this specific prop bag, one that you use on a regular basis? How do you think you could communicate that to others? The next step is to approach a company that makes one of these critical items and ask them for a sponsorship. Make it clear what value you think it is that you bring to the table. Maybe have a pitch ready or be able to talk to them about your relationship with your audience. Do your posts generate a lot of conversations? Are there lots of people asking you what props you use in your videos? At first, the best you might be able to hope for is a free prop and maybe a promo code compensated in store credit. And that's fine. Everyone has to start somewhere. Push that promo code and check in with the company every month. See what content moves the product and what doesn't. Take feedback from the company and your audience on ways that you can improve how you're positioning the product and even whether your audience is interested in said product in the first place. After a year of keeping track of sales, if you want to keep your relationship with the company, make a pitch for why you should receive a cash commission on the sales that you're producing. Can you point to how much income you've generated for the company? Has there been an improvement over time? If so, they should pay you for it. It's also entirely possible that a company may approach you and cold call you if you're garnering good engagement online. They may offer to send you props for free in exchange for a review or producing content around them. Think long and hard about who this company is and what values they represent before you accept, because it's important that they overlap with your own brand. And of course, track your metrics and make sure that you ask for compensation proportional to the sales that you're generating for them. As for getting paid to produce content, this one is sometimes hard, and with one exception, I have always had to pitch a company in order to land a sponsorship like this. It really helps to have data to refer to for this. If possible, be able to point to conversion data from promo codes to show that you have a good track record for converting sales. Also, put together a dynamite sales pitch. How would the content you produce demonstrate the value of the product? Can you find a unique way to present the product as being especially useful and/or answer a common need or question with it? Get creative. And please, above all else, keep track of everything. Watch your numbers, and if they are good, then use them to argue for better pay rates in the future. Use conversion data from one sponsorship to land another sponsorship. All of this, of course, is dependent on creating great content that connects with your audience. It's dependent on them trusting you and your recommendations. That should be your goal both at the beginning and the end of the day with this. That trust can be hard to regain if you lose it, so don't just go chasing props or dollar signs. You can get a new sponsor that better aligns with you in the future, but regaining your audience is a lot harder. Don't take them for granted. Did you get anything out of this video? Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to keep the conversation going, to help other people find it, and to help my channel grow. This video would not be possible if not for the wonderful support of all of these amazing people right here. These are my Flow patrons over on Patreon, and they, along with the people listed down in the description, help to make this video and all the videos on my channel possible. Thank you one and all for your support. Do you like my videos? Do you like my flow sessions, vlogs, reviews, combos, and more? I'm on a mission to bring poi spinning and flow arts to the wider world and help people connect with their bodies and their brains. So help me do it. Head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and sign up. You can do that at the link in the description or the card that just popped up if you're watching on YouTube. There you can get access to a whole host of awesome rewards and help me along in my mission. Do check that out. Please and thank you. Are you a sponsored flow artist? Who are you sponsored by and what arrangement do you have with them? I'd love to know. So leave me a comment and we'll compare notes. In the meantime, I'll leave a link to a playlist of videos I've done on flow entrepreneurship down in the description as well as up on screen if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure to get outside to flow today, and I'll see you with another video real soon. Peace.